Hello everyone, I hope you're all well. So I've got George here with me because we've just been for a haircut, because yeah, it was a bit of a long overdue haircut we both needed, but it got me thinking in there whilst I was having my haircut. What do I find easy as an Englishman living in Russia? And before we jump into that, make sure you subscribe, like, and share this content, and also join us over on Telegram because we have quite a lot of good chats going on in there, in Russian and in English. So yeah, make sure you're subscribed to our Telegram. But yeah, a little thing, getting a haircut. Is that easy? At first I thought that was going to be quite a daunting task, again, not being able to communicate in Russian so much, so I was kind of avoiding going to get my hair cut. And obviously if like I wanted to take the kids, it was like, oh, this is going to be really, really difficult. But you know what, it's like everywhere else we've been in Russia, you know, you go to any shops, any kind of things that you're planning to do, and people are very, very welcoming. Yes, I always kind of let them know that I can't speak much Russian straight away, but yeah, that I've never been kind of turned away, that such thing as getting your haircut. So yeah, we kind of communicate with limited Russian now that I'm learning Russian a little bit better. But we found a really good barbershop now, hairdressers or salon as they're called. We've got to know them, so when we turn up they know we're coming, they kind of know what how we want our haircut, isn't it? So yeah, it's kind of made it a lot easier, or kind of not being as anxious as thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be really difficult to get your hair cut. But no, people are very accommodating, very understanding, and yeah, it kind of always works well. So that's something reassuring, because yeah, there are kind of certain anxieties of being an Englishman or an English family in Russia at times, when you want to do something that becomes so natural to you from where from where you come from, you know, just little simple things like going to the hairdressers. But my point is, it's all good, it's very easy, and it's nice once you get to know the shops and hairdressers and people get to know you, they are delighted to see you, so that makes things easier. But that also got me thinking, what else do I find that makes life easier for myself living in Russia? And it's just a few things I wanted to share. So for example, when you go to kind of a fast food restaurant or a DIY shop, or even some of the big supermarkets like Pietorichka or Magnet, usually now, like the majority of countries in the world have self-checkout or self-service machines where you can go and get your products or groceries, and you can check out yourself. But what I've noticed, a lot of these self-service checkout machines have the option to select the language in English or a variety of other languages. Especially being here in Orenburg, you know, you can choose Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, a lot of different kind of languages like that. So when you are paying, if you're not that familiar with some of the kind of Russian phrases, you can select that English, and it does make your life 10 times easier when your Russian isn't that good. So that goes for, yes, checkouts in supermarkets. One of the big DIY stores, Leroy Merlin, I can go get DIY products, go to the self-service and check out there. But it's funny, as sometimes when there's like, I don't know, about 6 of these self-service checkouts, there's usually kind of a security guard or somebody monitoring what's going on. And because I've been to like Leroy Merlin buying things for the house restore, they've kind of got to know, oh, here's the Englishman, here he is. He's going to select English. And sometimes when something doesn't scan, you know, the person has to come over and they're like, oh, it's in English now, or what do we do? So it's a bit of kind of laughter, and they kind of know me in there now. But yeah, that's kind of throughout. You know, there's things like Vykusny Tachka, love or hate that. The Russian McDonald's, you know, you can select the menu in English there. Same as Rostic's now, which was KFC. What's the Russian pancakes?
Ruski Blini.
Ruski Bellini. You can, again, self-service. You can select English in that. So sometimes when you go into these restaurants and you see the menus in Russian, I will find that is still a bit daunting when you kind of want to know what you're choosing rather than just on the pictures. So yeah, being able to translate that into English, it does make it a little bit easier rather than having to go for kind of Google Translate and things like that. But that isn't stopping me from learning Russian. I still opt for the checkouts, the manned checkouts in the supermarkets, because my local magnet, I love to try and speak to the people serving me on the checkouts. They're usually very, very friendly. It helps me to practice my Russian as well. And that goes for one of the bakeries as well, because where we live, we've got some really good shops. We've got a magnet, a really nice bakery, a pharmacy, and a DIY store as well called Dvory Dom. And obviously I use them quite a lot, and it's just nice once you become recognized. If you kind of, you know, you kind of gain their trust, you're willing to try and speak Russian, or you're telling them, look, I don't speak much Russian, they're always very, very welcoming in every single one of those shops. And like the lovely lady in the bakery, she really tries to speak to me in English, and I try to speak back in Russian. And yeah, we high five each other when I come into the bakery. So it's just, I think, just allowing yourself to, I don't know, gain that trust, and just try and befriend people, because yeah, they're going above and beyond to kind of help you, especially when your language is limited. But you know, just little things like that, it really does make it easier. And also, just on the back of kind of self-service, I've noticed if you're using an ATM at like one of the big banks, Sber, you can select that in English also. I use Tinkoff as well, and there's some kind of ATMs around, dotted around there as well. So again, you can select English, whether you're depositing cash or withdrawing cash, or doing something, checking your balance or whatever. And that's the same for the app that I use for Tinkoff as well. You can put the settings in English, so you're not having to kind of log in on your computer and then translate it, or you can change the app to English, so you can kind of go through all your banking criteria as well. So again, it's not me saying avoid learning Russian, it's just as a foreigner, as an Englishman, it's kind of what I'm finding easy to make my life a little bit easier. And then also things like when you order, I don't know, products online, electronics or something, the two big online ordering apps, you know, Wildberries and Ozon, albeit those apps you can't translate into English that easy. I don't think there's a setting for that. But when you do order something, usually like instructions come through with multiple languages, usually in Russian, obviously, English and that. So when you do buy something, you can still kind of read how to put that thing together, or I don't know, set it up if it's an electronic device or something like that. So yeah, usually you can. If you know, the worst case, if your Russian isn't best, you can always opt for things like Google Translate or Yandex Translate, is what people are saying is really good as well. Obviously there's a really good kind of function where you can use the camera and it will translate the whole document from Russian. George is chewing away there. But yeah, where you can translate the whole document into English, so that does help make it a little bit easier as well. But also, when you have a lovely son who's learning Russian and is excellent at Russian, after being here 2 years, he does help me translate as well at times, don't you? So that is one really good thing, the way children do pick up the Russian language, and he can help me in the shops if I'm somewhat struggling. And we don't want to get Google Translate out. We want to kind of continue the conversation in Russian with the people that are serving us. We will ask George or Gordon to help us. That's especially when I'm on my own with the children. You know, not obviously just relying on Yuliya all the time. But the other great thing I've noticed as well is people do want to speak English to me as well, because a lot of people have studied English, whether it's at school or university, mainly younger people or similar people to my age, I would say. And as soon as they know I'm English, they will sometimes, if they're confident enough, try and speak to me in English and try to practice their English on me. So again, that will work both ways. I can practice a little bit of my Russian with them, but when they do that, they're usually quite shy and they usually, oh, my Russian is terrible. But when I can have a conversation with somebody in English and they're willing to do that, I always encourage them and say, you know, that's amazing, you know. And if there's kind of any way I could help, you know, to continue you kind of speaking your English to me. So that gets me on to one final point. Would anybody be interested in doing kind of personal one-to-ones with me to practice their English? So this is kind of to the Russian speaking audience. Is anybody interested in doing that? We could set up one-to-one video calls or something like that if you wanted to practice your English with a native speaking Englishman, and maybe it would possibly work the other way as well with me learning a bit of Russian. But I don't know, it's just an idea because I've been asked quite a lot in the comments about that, in Telegram as well. So yeah, it's just a bit of an idea, especially me being native Englishman. It would allow people to kind of practice their English with me. So I think I'll leave it at that today. That's just a few things I do find easy when you're trying to do day-to-day things in Russia. Is there anything else you want to say, George?
Bye.
Just bye. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. Remember to like, subscribe and share, and we'll see you in the next video. Well done, George. Bye-bye.